The unfolding cinematic narrative commences with our protagonist, Mike Howell, discovering himself in a precarious situation, confined and handcuffed within a holding cell. As an interrogation officer steps into the room, an enigmatic figure lurks outside, adding an aura of mystery. In this gripping narrative, Mike's mind becomes a canvas for vivid flashes, painting a picture of intense memories from events yet to unfold. In the past few days, incriminating images, including a bloody spoon, a frying pan, and a snapshot of a teddy bear, are meticulously arranged on the table as evidence. Just 3 days prior, Mike enjoyed a peaceful existence in Lyman, West Virginia, alongside his girlfriend Phoebe. Both avid stoners, Mike was deeply enamored with Phoebe, planning a surprise Hawaiian getaway to propose to her. However, their plans take an unexpected turn when Mike experiences a debilitating panic attack, causing them to miss their flight. Perplexed by his recurring anxiety, Mike apologizes to Phoebe during their drive home, and though visibly upset, she reassures him. The next day, Mike resumes his mundane job as a convenience store clerk, stocking shelves and manning the register, oblivious to the sinister events unfolding around him. In his leisurely paced life, Mike invests his time refining his original comic book, starring Apollo 8, a monkey astronaut embarking on thrilling adventures. During a brief smoke break outdoors, an unsettling revelation unfolds. The CIA has been covertly monitoring Mike, a former participant in the classified Ultra program, despite his lack of memory regarding it. At CIA headquarters, Victoria Lassiter sifts through confidential files in her office and bids farewell to her former assistant, Peter Douglas. Unexpectedly, she receives a mysterious call from a disguised voice, announcing the activation of the Ultra program, targeting Mike Howell for elimination within 24 hours. Despite Agent Lassiter's objections, she's instructed not to intervene, leaving her torn between duty and the enigmatic forces at play in this unfolding drama. In a more than perfunctory conversation, Lassiter confronts the elusive agent Adrian Yates, emphasizing the obligation to protect their former assets rather than terminate them. Yates counters, branding Mike as a potential threat due to his persistent attempts to leave town, deeming it a security breach. Their heated exchange escalates until Yates abruptly reveals that Howell's demise is imminent, dismissing any hope Lassiter may have had to salvage her past project in West Virginia. Meanwhile, in a tranquil moment, Mike and Phoebe bond over a joint, brainstorming ideas for Mike's comic book. Parked at their favorite spot, they observe a tow truck recovering a crashed car entangled with a tree. In his stoned state, Mike philosophizes about the car, viewing it as an ever-moving object with boundless potential. In a poignant moment, Mike reflects on the stationary tree that, for the first time, played a crucial role in stopping a car. Overwhelmed, he metaphorically identifies himself as the tree, implying that he perceives himself as holding Phoebe back in life. Despite Phoebe's reassurances, they return home, and Mike, concealing his true plans, claims an early work commitment. Secretly meeting his friend Rose, Mike purchases fireworks to propose to Phoebe in a dazzling display. The following morning, Agent Lassiter arrives at the convenience store to forewarn Mike of an impending assassination. Nonchalantly approaching the cash register with instant noodles and a bottle of milk, she initiates a sequence of events that will alter the course of Mike's life. In a cryptic exchange, Agent Lassiter communicates in code, alerting Mike that Mandelbrot is in motion, Echo Choir has been breached, and they are fielding the ball. Mike, bewildered, questions Victoria's well-being. Frustration transforms into concern as Mike fails to grasp the code meant to activate his latent abilities. Despite numerous attempts, Agent Lassiter apologizes and departs. Left alone, Mike warms up the abandoned cup of soup and steps outside to eat. Observing 2 men tampering with his car, he confronts them, only to realize that the activation code did work. Instantly, he springs into action, scalding the first assailant's face with hot soup and skillfully disarming the second with a mere spoon. Shaken, he urgently calls Phoebe, explaining the situation. Upon her arrival, they discover the lifeless bodies, and in shock, Mike is unable to explain the attackers' motives. Before they can make sense of it, the local sheriff arrives and arrests them. Meanwhile, Adrian Yates learns of the loss of 2 assets assigned to neutralize Mike, realizing that Lassiter has activated him. Ordering a town lockdown, Yates assigns agents Crane and Laffer to execute Mike and Phoebe at the police station. Inside the jail, The couple recounts the events, and Mike, to his astonishment, flawlessly recites the activation code he was given at work. Despite Mike's subpar memory, a peculiar clarity blankets the last 94 minutes. The sheriff relocates them for questioning, but a sudden power outage triggers an alarm, plunging the station into chaos. Agent Crane storms the entrance, unleashing gunfire on officers, while Agent Laffer lurks in the shadows to eliminate Mike. Mike's heightened ultra instincts surge, elevating his combat abilities to new levels. Using his handcuffs as improvised brass knuckles, he defeats Laffer, locking him in a cell. Simultaneously, Crane eliminates the remaining officers and prepares to execute the sheriff. The power is restored, revealing Mike and Phoebe attempting a daring escape on security cameras. Evading gunfire, they elude Crane's pursuit as she angrily calls out to Mike. In a tense standoff, Crane forces Mike to wait, hurling a grenade his way. Swiftly, he catches and returns it, detonating a blast that obliterates the police station. Mike approaches the incapacitated Crane to deliver a decisive blow. Returning to the store where he parked his car, Mike and Phoebe grapple with the realization that leaving town is not an option. As they discuss escape strategies, an unexpected gust of wind triggers a bomb planted by a previous henchman on Mike's car. Panic sets in. Meanwhile, Agent Lassiter, attempting to exit town, discovers the lockdown. In hazmat suits, mysterious figures reinforce the quarantine. Lassiter contacts Yates, learning of the fabricated disease outbreak story, realizing she is also trapped. At the burning station, she finds Crane's lifeless form and contacts Petey, disclosing Yates' strategy to box her in. Victoria plots to confront Yates, giving Petey coordinates for an airdrop in an open field. She demands weapons and files on Yates' assets. Reluctantly, Petey complies, sending guns and files on Crane and Laffer. Reviewing them, Victoria uncovers Yates' use of patients from asylums in his program. She implores Petey to intervene, but he reveals his inability to assist. Yates threatens him for treason. Meanwhile, Yates establishes a base near a supermarket, assembling sleeper agents, including the surviving Laffer. Seeking revenge, Yates directs them to pursue Mike. With their car destroyed, Mike and Phoebe unwittingly become targets as they drive Phoebe's car. Seeking refuge at Rose's home, Mike's memories unravel, granting him sudden expertise in guns, tanks, and bombs. However, their arrival raises suspicion. News implicates Mike and Victoria as the source of a typhoid outbreak. The report links them to a contagious disease contracted from monkeys, urging everyone to avoid them. Mike attempts to clarify, but Rose, skeptical, confines them to his basement. Outside, sleeper agents release poisonous gas through the vents. Another agent intrudes, murdering Rose and his friends. In the basement, Mike and Phoebe strive to escape through the ceiling, yet an agent forces entry, prompting a lethal confrontation that Mike narrowly survives. Phoebe seizes a gas mask and kettlebell, shooting the agent responsible for releasing toxic gas. She retrieves an antidote and injects it into Mike, who begins losing consciousness. Flashbacks flood his mind, even recalling an interview with the CIA. Startled, Mike awakens and distances himself from Phoebe. He questions her knowledge of the gas, prompting her reluctant admission. She works for the CIA and was his handler for 5 years. As Mike grapples with the revelation, he delves deeper, questioning the genuineness of their relationship, leaving Phoebe in a struggle to explain. Feeling betrayed, Mike flees to Phoebe's car. Inside, a tense argument unfolds. Out of nowhere, a jeep, steered by Laffer, collides with them. Laffer rescues Phoebe and reveals orders to keep her alive. Threatening something sinister, he douses the car in gasoline. Distracted, Lassiter intervenes, freeing Mike before the car explodes. Laffer takes Phoebe to their camp, where she discovers Yates is in charge. Mocking her, Yates highlights her lapse in debriefing, choosing to date her assignment. The revelation leaves Phoebe in shock, realizing her lab rat boyfriend was part of a larger, dangerous plot. Yates informs Phoebe that Mike will be burned alive and arrests her for insubordination. Lassiter takes Mike to safety, asking if he recognizes her. Confused, Mike demands answers. Lassiter reveals their history, meeting when he was recruited into the CIA's Wiseman program at 18. The experiment aimed to rehabilitate third-strike misdemeanor offenders. Mike excelled, but it induced insanity. The CIA shut it down, wiping his memory. As they talk, a man spots them outside. A local reports Mike's location to Yates, prompting Mike and Lassiter to return to his house. Despite the imminent danger, Mike opts for a happy, stone demise. Yates, ordering a drone strike, makes Petey nervous but compliant. Lassiter patrols as Mike gets high, revealing Phoebe's unwavering faith. Agents swarm, and in the shootout, Lassiter, using a teddy bear as a silencer, kills an agent. Despite Yates's insistence, Petey, anguished, refuses to order the drone strike, unwilling to be responsible for Lassiter's death. In a panic, he contacts Raymond Kruger, the CIA operations head, and the enigmatic figure from the opening scene. Meanwhile, at the house, Mike, cornered in the kitchen, spots a falling frying pan. Instinctively, he hurls it into the air, deflecting a bullet and killing his assailant. Lassiter's phone rings, and it's Mike who answers the call, receiving instructions to rendezvous with Yates at the nearby supermarket. Before parting ways, Phoebe apologizes, metaphorically identifying as the tree and him as the car. Their conversation is abruptly cut off by Yates. Determined to save Phoebe, Mike crashes into the supermarket with fireworks he obtained earlier. Over the intercom, he reassures Phoebe and expresses love before engaging in a fierce confrontation with the agents, using improvised weapons. Amid the chaos, Phoebe covertly seizes a paperclip. During the chaos, Mike utilizes a firework for a smokescreen, then bulldozes through the remaining agents with a sledgehammer. Emerging from the smoke, Yates orders Laffer to eliminate Mike before fleeing with Phoebe. In a secluded room, Phoebe reveals her plan to incapacitate Yates using a paperclip, uncuffing herself and delivering a punch. Lassiter, approaching silently, nearly strangles Yates with a cable until Kruger intervenes, forcing them to accompany him. As Mike and Laffer conclude their fight, Mike, now holding Laffer at gunpoint, sympathizes with the mentally unwell man and spares him. Reuniting with Phoebe, they step outside to face a SWAT team and armed troopers, prompting Mike's unexpected proposal. The joyous moment is short-lived as they are both tased by the officers. Later, Kruger takes Yates and Lassiter into the woods, emphasizing impending consequences. Facing consequences, Yates deflects blame onto Lassiter, but Kruger, revealing Yates's unauthorized operation, shoots him twice. Kruger discloses that he anonymously informed Lassiter out of respect. Although Mike faces execution, Lassiter argues his value, having single-handedly eliminated 17 tough guy assets. The scene transitions to the initial holding cell, and the interrogator refers to Mike as Agent Howell. In a cinematic crescendo, Mike and Phoebe's love blossoms in the picturesque Philippines 6 months later. However, an unexpected twist waits as Mike, stepping into an elevator, becomes the target of Mandarin gangsters manipulated by the cunning Victoria. Despite perilous threats, Mike valiantly resists, showcasing resourcefulness in a gripping confrontation. The film reaches its climax with their intense struggle, vividly illustrated within the pages of Mike's own comic book, leaving audiences on the edge of their seats, captivated by the unexpected turns of fate and the resilient spirit of our protagonists.